Yeah, thank you for being the tool.
The hollow, yes. We aspire. I aspire to being a tool.
Hi folks, welcome to the Beloved Presence podcast. This is Leslie Davidson and I am your High Priestess of Holy Shit. Hi folks, welcome to part 3 of my collaboration with Śivani from Solace and Shine. Śivani is a medium, an intuitive artist, a sannyasin on the yogic path. She has an ashram in the Purcell Mountains of BC, where they have a bakery and a farm. And they also hold courses and retreats. Right now they are offering Roots and Wings, which is a course that teaches us how to activate our galactic connection and realize our purpose on Earth. So enjoy my conversation with Śivani.
What do you see coming?
What do I see coming? I see two different realities simultaneously.
Yes.
Living and getting further and further apart until they're split.
Really? Like actually split?
Well, I feel that there's a new earth overlay that is already embodied in there. It's never not being there, but it's now coming into the collective awareness, which will make it more tangible. And I think many people, myself included, are already experiencing time and space, psychic connections, animus technology, as in internal technology of telepathy and connectivity and a knowing is already being activated inside of us. I see an entire generation of humans remembering why we're here, remembering our galactic citizenship. Yeah, right. Remembering our galactic citizenship, and taking the awareness of not just our human ancestry, which is important, don't get me wrong, to connect to our human ancestry, but as a way of remembering our own indigenous nature, because our ancestors were connected to Ma in that way, but then taking it into a direct, not just a knowledge, but an experience of, oh, actually, I'm a galactic citizen on Earth with the entire galactic body of wisdom of polarization, integration, and of divine embodiment within me, if I know where to look and which questions to ask and know who to call in. So nothing is actually held back from me except my own doubt and fear of what if, and that's why right now we're teaching this course. Is just started, but people can sign up before the end of April. Sorry, it goes till October, of embodying and remembering their own animus technology, and remembering the what if you were God? What if you were a galactic citizen? What if you had connections to not only the polarizational bandwidth of memory from, for example, the Orion constellation, which is very prevalent in our Earth society right now, but what if you also were able to tap into the bandwidth of integration and eventually the Orion light? You're not limited because it's already happened. Time, space is an illusion. Only you identifying with that bandwidth is actually creating the reality here. So if you can calibrate to the frequency, the cloud of bandwidth, which is actually what mantras are, of bandwidth, you can actually entrain to that body of wisdom in this moment and resonate from that place. And that is going to create interactions and a reality from that place if you have the awareness of how to do it. And so that's what we're teaching and sharing in Roots and Wings, and I actually have co-created it with the Starseed collective of guides that I'm working with. It's been a real trip to co-create a course with 3 from 3 different constellations.
Three what? Because I missed a word.
Star
there.
seeds.
Okay.
3 star seeds from 3 different constellations. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I feel that if we come into our galactic citizenship with the right orientation and responsibility to the fact that our presence on Earth, the frequency of light that is our divine spark, resonating through the meat suit in this density that is able to calibrate higher and higher, is going to support Gaia into letting go of the pieces that are no longer viable to that reality. And so we become like the acupuncture needles between heaven and earth. You know, it's a responsibility to embody the highest frequency you can, so that the information, the galactic information and the embodiment of Gaia can be met in your heart. And we have a job to do. We have a mission to be part of that happening.
Yeah, it's true. We do.
Yeah. We do, and we will, and we are, and we have, you know.
Yeah.
And but there's also another bandwidth of frequency that doesn't want it to change. And so people who only resonate at that bandwidth are going to potentially experience a reality that is going to be an expression of that. And that will also be the divine will and the necessary digestion of those identifications, because we're all one. We have to be able to, we are not separate. It's not like, oh, the people that are enlightened are going to be going to New Earth and the people that are not are going to say. It's not like that, because there's actually no separation. All of us, we're all a facet in the diamond. We all have a unique perspective of the way the divine light comes through us, and we have a responsibility to report back to that facet. But the facet doesn't actually exist. The facet is just an angle of light, the way it hits the whole.
Is that the handprint on the butter?
Yeah. You have listened to some episodes.
I have listened to some episodes. Yeah, they were great. They were very interesting. You have a lot of like great wisdom to share. Like, I hope.
I don't actually. I'm like a total fraud, because it's through me. Actually, like when I'm teaching with somebody or a class or a conference or something, and somebody will say, "Can you just repeat that?" I'm like, actually no, because I have no idea what I just said. I'm literally sitting here as a hollow bone. My special gift is being a hollow bone. It is not from me. It is straight through me. So the podcast, I agreed to the podcast going out because the teachings that come through, the teachings, not the teacher, the teachings that come through in that, in those lectures, you know, I think they do have value, and they're going to hit the right place in the right place. But it's not me.
I get it. But yeah, thank you for being the tool.
The hollow, yes. I aspire to being a tool. Some days I succeed.
Perfect. Yeah, I feel exhausted right now. I feel like I just was. No, it's totally okay. it's going to take, I'm probably going to have to listen to this and watch it a few more times to like integrate everything. It's kind of like that first email you sent me back about yoga, where I was like, wow, okay, so much. I need to like, I definitely
Well,
haven't
I thought
integrated this.
you emailed me like uncomfortable questions. I'm like, we've only just met. In fact, we haven't met. We've had one email back and forth, and you're emailing me. I have an uncomfortable question. And honestly, I thought well, first of all, the way you asked was so respectful and so based in curiosity rather than preconceived judgment. And I could really feel that. And it was so candid and refreshing for somebody to ask really what they wanted to know, instead of sort of pussyfooting around something. I wanted to your light in the question with enough sincerity and consideration as possible. I'm like, well, if you're going to have enough respect to ask respectfully, then I will have enough respect to answer completely.
Yeah, it was excellent. I have referred to it again and again to integrate it. Like, I'm very excited to hear about yoga through your perspective. It's something that I'm interested in learning more about. I've always been interested in yoga, but my experiences with it have not been great. Do you know what I mean? So I just kind of left it as something over there that doesn't resonate.
Yeah.
This resonates with me. This is
Right.
very valuable.
This is yoga. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
yoga is
and
of the mind. It's consciousness.
well, why I was so like interested in it earlier in my life was that integration of the body into a spiritual practice. Do you know what I mean? Because that's not, you don't really get that in the West. Like, they're very separate. They're not,
Yeah.
oh, forget this. Just
don't chant on 3 times. You'll go to hell.
Yeah. Or this is all nothing. That none of this matters. It's all your gifts in heaven. Just like, no, we're here now. Like, let's be here now and integrate them and make the changes here and have it be what it can be here. Like, please. So yeah, I appreciate your candor in your response. Thank you.
Yeah, you're thanks for your question. It very much came through me. I was like, okay, first of all, I was like, whoa, and then I was like, no, let's break this down. Like, and then it just again came through me rather than from me. And I was like, wow, that's a kind of 2 pages answer. Shivani, great. Okay.
This is what she gets. Here you go.
You asked.
Yeah, I did.
Here's your response.
It's great.
Yeah. And the thing I'm really excited about in terms of, as your question about yoga, is having been sort of like trained old school, connected to a lineage, going back to India every year for at least a month, where you're like, oh, I'm going to an ashram and I will practice yoga. You know how many asana classes I've done in the ashram in India? Probably about 2 in 14 years. Like, it's about consciousness, and it's about evolution, and it's about doing that through service, and through aligning so that the mind calibrating to the container, so that what can't calibrate comes to the surface and is able to be reintegrated without re-identification. And as I dive into this exploration of like galactic heritage and star seeds and new earth and all of these aspects that have been coming through in the last couple of years, through my channeling and mediumship work, what is so heartening to me is that what's coming through exactly what has been taught for the thousands of years. It's just that the part in the middle couldn't comprehend it because the frequency of mind was so low. it had to orientate it as dogmatic rules and regulations and mythology instead of understanding the myths as a way of moving through specific bandwidths of consciousness that are the same bandwidths we're working through right now. So there's an embodiment right now of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Ramacharita-manas, of it, and you understand when you read these texts, the Upanishads and the Puranas, when you read them, they are, again, because they're in Sanskrit, they're not just an intellectual. You read one sentence in Sanskrit, it is a light code capsule that unpacks itself on different layers of consciousness, you know.
Can you read Sanskrit?
Not read I can a little bit read Devanagari, which is the script of Sanskrit, but I can chant it quite proficiently when it's in the Roman.
Okay.
Most important, when you learn Sanskrit, the mantras, you're not trying to intellectually remember them, because as soon as you can calibrate to the frequency that mantra holds, the whole thing is memorized. Right? So learning Sanskrit is not about learning a language. It's about calibrating to a bandwidth that holds, and then it's very easy to remember the mantras and to use them to calibrate too. But with the texts like the Ramacharita-manas, you know, there's a transmission of light in the text. It's not actually like Swadhyaya is one of the tenets of the yamas of yoga, and they're like, oh, it's self-study. And it's like, so to read the Bhagavad Gita, to read the Ramacharita-manas, and you're reading the story and you're like, dude, this does not make sense. But when you like the English translation of the Sanskrit, you're like, whoa. But if you can get past the intellectual conscious mind and you can tap into the paradigm of transmission within the body of work, you start to understand and calibrate to the frequency of the shift of consciousness that they're talking about in it. And having done that for many years, I'm now seeing that what is coming through from the galaxy is the same. There is no, oh, this is really old and all the new stuff is coming out. It's actually, the new stuff has been here the whole time. We just haven't had the bandwidth to recognize it. So this thread, this golden thread of lineage that's been held sacred for 5,000 years is actually what we are ready for now. And to me, that's really exciting.
It is exciting. Are you saying that the frequency is in the English translations as well?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If you can read if you read quite like Stephen Mitchell's translation of the Bhagavad Gita, anything from the Gita Press specifically in India does a very good job of translating into Roman English, especially the Gita and the Ramacharita-manas, Tulsidasa's Ramacharita-manas, which is the story of Hanuman. Actually, today is Hanuman Jayati, because it's the full moon, the Aries full moon, and that is when the birth of courage from the foundation of pure service comes forth, which is 6 days after the spark of Rama. Now, why is Krishna blue? Why is Shiva blue? Why is Rama blue? Why? I think, this is just my hypothesis, I think it's because they're actually starseed wisdom keepers that have been turned into the mythology of holding the wisdom of that on earth. And we've made it their experience and what they taught as digestible. But they encapsulate light transmissions of light. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I kind of think that's the point of all spiritual stories, is to hold a higher truth
Transmission,
a higher transmission. I'm not
the originals. I'm not too sure about the Bible, just in terms of how many times it's been rewritten and which agenda it's been rewritten
Yeah.
into.
No, fair enough. I
The
was
original,
thinking,
I'm sure.
yeah, I was thinking specifically of learning about, of course, the Celtic gods, because I'm not a big fan of gods and goddesses. I don't resonate with that at all. But reading about them and learning about the, you know, the tombs that they would make into the earth and stuff, and it was resonating on a very symbolic, like universal way with the solstice and stuff. So it's all the same. Joseph Campbell, you know, it's all just a couple stories being retold with different characters.
Yeah. And then you see it coming through pop culture. I mean, you know, I some people think my theories are a little bit out there, but you know, there's a resonance that I can perceive through pop culture. And I'm like, well, is this coming through pop culture because it's, you know, like Hollywood, or is it coming through because that's actually the level of awareness that we're ready to remember? You know, things like the Star Wars, you know, things like Star Trek, things like Avatar, things like Marvel multiverses. You know, why are they so popular? Because they're sparking something in us that goes, what if? What if we could open portals? You know?
I don't think it's weird at all. I think that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. And so I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. It is. Okay, I think I'm done.
Beautiful. What a joy. Thank you for this. This is really sweet. Really lovely.
No, thank you. Thanks,
Very
Mark,
excited.
thanks, Mark, for
thanks,
for
Mark.
hooking us up. Yeah, I'm excited too. I'm looking
Check out
forward
Roots
to.
and Wings.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I think you I think it would light you up from
I
hearing
think
your
it probably would too.
podcasts and now meeting you. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. You were not the only one stalking. I was also listening to your podcast. They're beautiful.
Thanks. I assumed you would.
Absolutely. I love your passion and your candor.
Thanks. Thank you. I think that's what Beloved Presence is just being who I am as much as I can. You know, that's my process, is getting rid of all the things that are stopping me from embodying.
Yeah, that's all of us.
It's all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is all of us. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's not just me. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No,
that's
but
just
I'm trying to say you're not alone.
No,
I'm trying to say you're definitely not alone in that of like, you know, who am I?
That's so
Say
funny
such
that you
things.
just said that. I'm writing a post right now that's called I released the new website on my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Well, that was a while ago, but thanks. And I sat down to write a post last week that I thought was going to be, you know, a foundation post about Beloved Presence and kind of what we're doing here and whatever. And no, I was told, who am I? Who are you? Who are we? And I went, what? Really? That's what we're doing? Yes. Who am I? Who are you? Who are we? So that's going to be me for the next few weeks. Who am I?
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are we?
And who are you to, and who are you not to? There's so many people out there with very loud noises that are closing hearts and shattering dreams. You know, if you really feel that connected to trees and to Gaia and to the heart and to the land and to the ancestors and that, then who are you not to? It's needed.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a repeated, a lot of it is me telling, speaking and sharing what I wish I'd heard as a young person, what I wish someone had said, or I had just managed to stumble on, that I wouldn't have spent so much of my time thinking that how I felt in the world was a weird anomaly and not just perfectly welcomed and wanted, you know, and meant to be here. Just permission to talk to trees and feel love for the plants and want to share that, and listen to the birds and hear what they have to say and act on it. You know, just all of that. Yeah, permission.
It's the most beautiful reality.
It really is the most beautiful reality. And I just I want everyone to hear, just hear. You don't have to agree. I just hear, like, just hear everywhere, from every point. Just turn, every time people turn around, they're getting the message, like, nature is kin, nature is kin, nature is kin.
Yeah, please say it often, loud and joyously.
Often and loud and joyously.
Yeah.
And
Preach.
joyously.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
joyously, not from the grief, but from the,
I know.
because that layer of life is there, that level of joy, and the joy that the trees and the land get when we are in the resonance of remembrance, is it's like a, okay, with me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
They have, and it's so true. It's so true.
Yes.
And it was such a, I don't know, it blew my, it was last summer where it blew my mind, where I understood and recognized that it wasn't just us doing for them. It wasn't just us doing ecology and making environmentally right decisions and whatever, but it was also us opening to them to return that to us. Like, that's the part that, from my point of view, humans who get into environmental protection and that kind of thing are not resonant with that, the reciprocity.
Yeah.
And they want to do for, and they want to protect, and they, you know what I mean? And I'm like, be there and feel that love. In that feeling of reciprocity, of feeling with nature, changes. It changed my life. Like, it changed my life.
In 2000, end of 2005, I moved. I say I moved. It was only for 3 months, but I moved down to Costa Rica. I say moved because I didn't have anywhere else to go. I didn't have a home somewhere. I moved out of Toronto to Costa Rica, and then I moved to Vancouver via a couple of months in New Zealand, like waiting for my visa. And in Costa Rica, living in a off season, it was the rainy season, so I was living at a retreat center, but there was nobody there. I was there by myself, and the old lady on the hill, and you know, I was you know, mid-20s, didn't speak Spanish, told all of the guards everywhere that where the men were like, hey, and I was like, boyfriend coming tomorrow, like, you know. And I was like, I have no boyfriend. And I had to, you know, like, I shared the pantry with the bullfrog, and I shared the hammock with the iguanas, and I shared my bananas with the bats at night. And it was the very first time where I would get up in the morning, I'd go to the yoga platform, I would do my asana practice, and I would sit there, and these blue Mariposa butterflies, the blue ones, would come. They're huge, and they would come and they would dance around my head after my asana practice. And I was so scared of being there by myself. And I got to the point where I looked at the trees and I was like, I have to believe you would protect me. I have to believe you would conceal me. I have to believe you would fall down over the road so that somebody couldn't get to me. because I'm here by myself and I'm prime target for shit going down. So I have to believe. And I just felt so protected. It was the first time I'd never felt protected before. I'd never felt held by Ma and as land before. But I knew that every animal there knew that I was there, and every animal would protect me if it came to that. And it was just really beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I went to New Zealand after that, I painted the picture of me sitting in the hands of the Divine Mother with the whole forest around me. And now it's in my son's bedroom. It's his main painting in his bedroom. Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful.
That right from the beginning, he can be held by
Yeah.
the land.
Yeah. I'm interested too, like, you're raising such a different level consciousness son
or he's raising me, one or the other.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
That happens, right? That's so interesting.
He's 13. He is so amazing. I mean, he came from the bees in the ashram in India. If you've listened to that podcast, I'm assuming.
No, I didn't listen to that one.
You haven't listened to the story of the bees. So he came from the bees outside of the house of the enlightened master, the guru of the ashram, because I couldn't have children. And outside this holy master's house, I ended up getting attacked by a swarm of bees and got 80 bee stings from the neck up. And it totally ripped out a level of fire out of me that was holding my body out of resonance of fertility. And we conceived our son the first ovulation after we got home. So his middle name is Madhu, which means honey, because he came from the bees. And, he took his first steps. He learned to walk in the ashram. He took his first steps in Vancouver, but he learned to walk in the ashram. He had his first haircut in the ashram in India. He learned to speak in the ashram. He was potty trained in the ashram. Like every time we went back to India, he would have these huge,
moments,
jumps. And he's homeschooled, and he's just amazing. And on hard days, on days where there's despair, I commit to the work for myself so that he doesn't have to do it 7 generations. Because I really believe that he is so sensitive and so beautiful that his ability to be part of the new will be sanctified by us doing the work of breaking down the old. And I find him to be really inspiring for that.
Nice.
And he's a teenager and he mouths off and he likes, too much mac and cheese, and he's like any other kid in many, many respects, but on a soul level, he's quite beautiful, amazing.
That's interesting. Yeah. I have a lot of excitement about the younger generations. I'm just very excited about what I see.
Yeah.
And how they're willing to talk and what they recognize. And I think it's great.
You're happy?
Yes, I'm feeling very emotionally drained right now.
Hopefully that will integrate into.
Yes, well, I assume it will integrate into new knowings and thoughts and revelations. I appreciate this. I hope that I'm looking forward to reading your book when it's out. And
I also have the Yoga of Remembrance, which is already out. You can get it on Amazon.
That's right. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
If you want, I can ask the office to send you an email with a couple of links if that's helpful.
Whatever you'd like to be included, because I'm not thinking very straight right now about like business points or marketing about this or anything like that. I just have been in a transmission receiving state. So I'm not very I'm not very clear right now. So thank you for being a tool.
Yeah. Happy to serve, no problem.